He's back, baby. M. Night is back. He's back in all the glory that we love and hate him for. This is so close to, not M. Night at his best. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say like Signs, The Village, Sixth Sense. However, compared to what we've seen recently, leagues beyond. Leagues beyond. And I was really worried because I went into this not knowing quite literally anything. I didn't know the cast. I only knew David Bautista was in it because I had like seen some spoilery things. And I knew Rupert Grint was in it because people spoiled that for me. But I didn't know the rest of the cast. I didn't know what it was about. I purposely avoided trailers, posters, everything. I just knew the release date. That's all I knew, is where to show up. So please ignore my hair. I was walking. I've been walking all day. It's Florida. It's humid. What else is new? But yeah, we all know how Old went. Not great on a technical level, let's say. And then the other one I can think of is The Last Airbender, which I don't want to talk about it. Everything else I think has been original idea. I could be wrong, but that I can think of, like The Village, Signs, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, all original ideas, right? So I always get worried when it's a adaptation because, I don't know, I feel like sometimes he thinks that he has to stay true to the vision, but also not. It's a difficult balancing act when you're adapting something. And I don't know if he has that skill. Though after seeing this, I've got to kind of disagree. So overall, I mean, I don't want to give a definitive rating yet because I just saw it, but the noise had to roll the windows down. It's getting hot, as I was saying. But definitely a thumbs up. A billion times. I went to the bathroom like halfway through and I texted my boyfriend. I was like, it's incredible, because it is. And I kept waiting for the shoe to drop. I kept waiting for it to be like, oh God, this thing sucks so bad that it ruined the whole thing. But without spoiling it, I will get into a spoiler section, but still outside of the spoiler section, without spoiling anything, the weakest link, I'm not going to say who that is, the weakest link exits the movie the earliest. So thank God. Everyone else I think was super strong. There were some weak moments, which is kind of typical in an M. Night thing. It's mostly due to the dialogue. He's not the best at writing dialogue. That's something I love him for. I think his lines are really interesting, but they're kind of stilted. It's always especially evident in children and romance. He kind of has a George Lucas syndrome there. But I actually didn't think the child's lines, there was only like one line where I was like, this is a little precocious, you might say. But everything else was like, I think, pretty reasonable and normal. And then romance, I was blown away with how much better the romantic aspect was compared to his other stuff. Like, way more believable, way less like awkward. And then the awkwardness actually came from adult characters that weren't involved in the romance. And what was interesting was it worked because of the fact that they're supposed to be a little nutty. Whether they're insane or they're really adrenaline fueled or having kind of a breakdown. This movie definitely has every M. Night thing that you either love or hate him for, but is done in a way that if you are a fan of his known good works, then you will like this. I made a little list on my phone. I'm going to put that here because I can't look at my phone because I'm using it to record, of all the things that make M. Night good, or that are like a classic M. Night that are in this movie. So hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. Now I'm going to be getting into spoiler territory. There's only a few things I want to say, and they're still kind of spoiler free in a way, because I'm not going to be getting into like major aspects of the plot. I just want to mention some moments that really stuck out to me. One thing is, I think the handling of the gay couple was done, like, as a queer person, I'm not a gay man, but as a queer person, I think that it was handled in a really good way overall. There were moments where it's like, oh, please don't do this, and then they didn't do it, and I was so happy. I also think that it showed the flaws of any relationship. I like that they also didn't really like glamorize this queer relationship. They just happened to be queer. That's not to say that it wasn't just like a, oh, we're just like everybody else thing. If you are queer, you may be triggered by a few scenes. There's actually one scene where we see a hate crime. So if that's going to be triggering to you, then I would avoid this movie or watch it going in prepared for that, or maybe in a capacity where you can press pause or you can fast forward. But I don't think that it was drawn out or over dramatized in a way to be like trauma porn, essentially. I don't think it was handled like that. So it's relatively fast. If you think you can handle relatively fast stuff, then I think the moment that I knew I was sold, I was already sold and I'd already texted my boyfriend, this is fantastic. But the moment that I knew, like, this is giving me similar feelings to my favorite movie ever, Signs, also by M. Night Shyamalan, and one of my, probably like my 5th favorite movie ever, The Village, also by M. Night Shyamalan, was a moment where David Bautista, is it David or is it Dave? David? I think it's David. Bautista, stands in front of a TV and he starts reciting the newscast, and he's a little off, but he's only off ever ahead of it and not behind it. And I don't even want to tell you what he's doing, but man, that moment was, ooh, it gave me such chills. It was like exactly what I want out of an M. Night romp. Exactly what I want. So fantastic. He was definitely a strong point. I felt like there were only weak points. The spoiler section, I'll say what I thought was the weak point. Unfortunately, I thought Rupert Grint was by far the weakest point. I thought that his accent was kind of weird. I thought that his acting was kind of weird. I just feel like they gave him a character that wasn't good for him. They needed someone else to do that role. I get why M. Night chose him, because he's already working with him with Servant, and I think Rupert Grint is a great actor. I just don't think that this part was right for him. I think it just kind of made it unbelievable, but he bites it first, so goody me. The woman that is in Old, that sucks in Old, is good in this. I think that she's really good in this. I think this part fit her really well. And then the other woman is the other weak link, but I didn't think that she was super weak. There were just a few times where she kind of reminded me of Drama Student, but I also thought that that was believable in a way, because she's supposed to be a tiny bit loopy anyway, so I thought it overall worked and didn't take away from the character. There are a few more things that I could say, but pretty much everything I want to say is just like a little something that is spoiler heavy, and I feel like maybe you don't care about spoilers, so you're watching this part but you haven't actually seen the movie yet, and I don't want to take that away from you. I'm gonna extend an olive branch and not spoil main aspects of it. Even if you don't care, I think that you'll be better for it, and your viewing experience will be better for it, so I won't say them. But there were aspects that I liked in the latter half for sure, and I thought that the effects were really solid, and I thought that there were some really cool ideas in there, and I also thought that the violence being heavily implied but off screen was ultimately the right choice. I'm going to say about it right now. I may come back and revisit it after a second viewing, or when I have more time to sit on it. Maybe I'll do a video essay about a certain aspect, but that's all I want to say for now. Thank you for bearing with me. And if I had to give this one a rating right now, don't hold me to this. It's definitely going to stay at a thumbs up. I'm certain of that. But don't hold me to this rating. But if I had to give a rating right now, I would give an 8.5 out of 10. Typically, my ratings after first viewing will fluctuate by half a point to a point. So you can pretty much guarantee that the movie is going to stay in that range. I doubt it's going to change that much. But right now, 8.5 out of 10. Really, really liked it. Go and see it. I think it's something that should be watched in theaters. There were a lot of shots that I was like, this works way better on a movie screen, I can already tell. So go see it now while you can. And yeah, thank you guys for watching.